attack at sea. In Europe, the streets of Paris, London, and Brussels are overrun by mobs of Hamas supporters changing their jihad slogans in the heart of the Western capital. And in America, the evil anti-Semitism is rampaging all throughout our cities. The Democrat Party, our left-wing media institutions, a certain candidate for the President of the United States, which is hard to believe, and our colleges and universities, they're going loco. They've gone loco. Something's wrong with them. Never seen this. I never thought this could happen. Do you know, just to get off for a second, years ago, my father was a big supporter of Jewish people and Israel. He's not Jewish. He wasn't Jewish, but he was a great friend of a lot of Jewish people. And if you said, let's say 15 years ago, maybe not even that long, anything bad about Israel or Jewish people, you were finished as a politician, right? You were finished. You wouldn't do that, Congressman. You wouldn't do it anyway, but nobody would do it. The most powerful lobby in this country, by far, was Israel and Jewish people. Today, it's almost like, what happened? What happened? What happened to Schumer? What happened to all these people? Schumer's like a Palestinian, right? It's a Palestinian. You got to remember that, though. It's, it's shocking because I grew up where Israel was supported. My father was a builder in Brooklyn, and a lot of Jewish people. That's all he knew. That's all I knew, essentially. But we knew Jewish people, and they were great people. And we'd go to many events. I'd go with him, and it was great. The card calling, we would card, the card callers. We had a man, Harry Waxman. He was a brilliant card caller. What do you mean you're only going to give $100,000? You got to give $1 million. You'd be embarrassed, and he'd say, all right, I'll give you $1 million, right? He was the best of all the card callers. But we would go, and Federation and all the different events. But the power, Miriam, of this lobby, this powerful, and it was for good, not for bad, of being Jewish and of Israel. And unfortunately, they're not necessarily the same, because you have Jewish people living in New York who really don't support. You look at the New York Times, and they do not support Israel, and I don't think they support Jewish people, you want to know the truth. And you wonder where it all came from. But why did it come? And they have to get together. They have to be strong. Because it's never been under attack like this. It's never been under siege like this. But 15 years ago, it was the absolute most powerful. You couldn't have an AOC +3. They wouldn't have a chance of being elected anywhere. And today you have AOC and some of these people, and they're pretty violent, and they hate Israel, and they hate Jewish people. And you're going to end up winning because you're going to have the president, okay? So you're going to end up winning. But you do have people, and it's amazing. The radical Marxist left and the sympathizers of the radical Islamic terror, who Democrats have imported from all over the world, have united around their hatred of America and their hatred for Israel. They have hatred. The toxic poison of anti-Semitism now courses through the veins of radical Democrat Party. I mean, this is a radical group of people. I never thought I'd see that either. They have gone crazy. And instead of expunging this hatred, Kamala Harris is pandering to it. He wouldn't even meet Bibi. He wouldn't talk to him, didn't want to talk to him, didn't want to mention. When they finally were forced to meet, she wouldn't be there. She wouldn't be in Congress, and they were forced to meet. It was like she couldn't stay. She just wanted to get out of the room. You can't have that. She'll let it go. She'll let Israel go. We're here tonight because we believe that this vicious outbreak of militant anti-Semitism is very militant, must be given no quarter, no safe harbor, no place in a civilized society. We must reject it in our schools, reject it in our foreign policy, reject it in our immigration system, and reject it at the ballot box this November. Jewish people have to not vote by habit. You vote by habit for Democrats, and the Democrats are really against you now. If you look at what they're doing, they're absolutely against you. You have to stop. You have to be smart. People can't believe that. I mean, with all of the things, it was so nice that you read them off, but Golan Heights, the Abraham Accords, The biggest thing, I was talking to Sheldon, before he passed away, he said the biggest thing you did was terminating the Iran nuclear deal. The problem is, and then, of course, Jerusalem and the embassy and the capital of Israel. But the Iran nuclear deal was the biggest thing. The problem is this administration did nothing with it. Iran was broke. They were broke. Nobody could do business with them. I said, anybody that does business with them, meaning oil, it's all about oil. Oil is the big money. You know, people make donuts and they make lots of things. It's all about the oil. Oil is the big money. They were broke. And I said to China, I said to every country, I said, any business with Iran, you can't do business with the United States. And I'm going to tariff the hell out of you if you do. And nobody did business. They all believed me 100%. President Xi, all of them. And, you know, they had no money, and they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for anyone. You read this toward the end of my term, and nobody had money to do anything. October 7th never would have happened. And then you see in the last 3.5 years, they have $300 billion right now. $300 billion. They're a really rich nation. And because we made the mistake, that was Bush, of attacking Iraq and blowing it out. You know, for thousands of years, they were enemies. They were natural enemies under different names. But they were the same size. They were the same power. Thousands of years. And we wiped out one of them in about 2 weeks. And the other one, well, we wiped out Iraq. The other one took over Iraq because basically it's a subsidiary of Iran. It's also got tremendous wealth. It's got 250 billion. So Iran has 550, 600 billion dollars that they made all during the 3.5 years of these two people. And it's hard to believe, but they're a very rich country now, and they're trying to develop nuclear weapons, and not trying. They're very close to getting it. And once they have it, it's you better have the right president. Once they have it, it's going to be very tough negotiating. It's one thing negotiating when they don't have nuclear weapons. It's another thing negotiating when they do, I can tell you, because I did a good job with North Korea. But it's much more difficult, like from a different planet. As our close ally confronts a savage terrorist enemy, hell-bent on extremism, really, and the extermination of the Jewish state, which is what they want. It says it all the time. We will totally eradicate Israel. They say that. The leaders of Iran say it, and others in the Middle East say it. We must stand with our friend and partner, the state of Israel. We will, strongly. And you'll be okay if you have the right president. You have the wrong president, like her, honestly, you don't have a chance. When you look at the odds, when you look at a map of the Middle East, Israel is a tiny little spot compared to these giant land masses. It's really a tiny spot. I actually said, is there any way of getting more? It's so tiny. It just doesn't look. It's amazing how it can defend itself. But, when you look at Iran and you watch their armies today, I was watching their armies, they have hundreds of thousands of people. It's big. It's very big. And we gave it much more power I told them on Iraq, I said, don't go into Iraq and don't bomb it, but if you're going to do it, keep the oil. Well, we did it, and we didn't keep the oil. It used to be in the old days, to the victor belonged the spoils. We don't do that. We go and bomb people and leave, and nobody knows what happened. What did we do? Like Afghanistan, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country was Afghanistan. We gave them $85 billion worth of equipment, lost 13 soldiers, but also 47 soldiers were obliterated, no legs, no arms, the face. And such stupid people, that would have never happened. None of that would have ever happened. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have had the Israeli attack. We wouldn't have the Russian attack on Ukraine. None of it would have happened if we didn't have a bad election, even though we got 12 million more votes than we did before. We got many more votes than we did. We did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016. But all of that took place in a short period of time. But we must declare that without hesitation that what happened to Paris and happened to London, have you seen what's going on? And what happened to Europe will never happen here. But it is happening. It is happening. They say that going to the Democrat convention next week are going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are opposed to Israel. It's their big problem. That's their thing. And not even believable, but hundreds of thousands they're projecting right now. Hundreds of thousands. That's a lot. We will not let a jihad. There will be no jihad coming to America under Trump. I can tell you. The surge of chaos and bigotry and violence the Jewish community is witnessing today is the direct result of weakness, radicalism, and cowardice of the Harris-Biden administration. Kamala Harris restored funding to the Palestinian Authority, as you know. She was the one that led it, and the UN Relief and Works Agency, which both funnel money directly to Hamas. She's the one that led it. And then you vote for her. I don't you got to talk to your friends, talk to your people. Ziggy, please. No, do you understand? Ziggy understands. She can't even believe it. But these are the people that give her money, and she's giving money to Hamas, Hezbollah, all of them. She's the one that really pushed for it. She supported removing the Houthis from the list of terrorist organizations, and she got that list taken out. She's the one that really pushed it hard. And remember, 5 or 6 weeks ago, everyone thought she was a nothing. Now all of a sudden, because she was the one, they were politically correct. You know, they did that only because they wanted to be politically correct, so nobody went and challenged her. All of a sudden, it's like, she's the greatest ever. She's Margaret Thatcher, liberal version, right? Can you believe it? She was nothing 5 weeks ago. She was the worst vice president ever. She was the worst border czar in history. Now she says, I wasn't a border czar, but she was in charge of the border. She did a horrible job. But a group whose motto includes the words, death to America, death to Israel, and a curse on all Jews. That's what their motto is. Most egregiously of all, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, who doesn't know he's alive, by the way, delivered over $100 billion in sanction relief to Iran. They gave them a lot of money. They gave them $6 billion to a hostage. $6 billion. $6 billion. And it's unbelievable, the amount of money they give for that. You know, when you do that, they're just going to keep kidnapping people, whether it's Russia or them or anybody else. Look what happened in Russia. We got a basketball player. They got the greatest reign of terror. This is the man, the Prince of Death, right? They call him the Prince of Death, Ziggy, right? He's the greatest arms dealer in history, they say. This is what we got. They got him back. I wonder what they're doing with him. Unsurprisingly, Iran is now trying to tilt the election in Kamala's favor very strongly. They're openly fighting for it. Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces who want to destroy Western civilization, but most particularly Israel and Jewish people. And I'm the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend the United States of America. Right? Kamala, I really don't call her Harris because nobody knows who Harris is. You say to people, Harris. Who the hell is Harris? Isn't it a weird deal? Nobody knows. Even me, I'm saying Harris. I'm saying, who is that? It's like, oh, Kamala, because at least people know who she is. But Kamala and Biden's weakness and indulgence of Israel's enemies directly enabled the monstrous October 7th attack on Israel. Would have never happened. They knew nothing was going to happen to them with Biden. The deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust by far. Hamas slaughtered whole families, raped women, and burned Jewish civilizations alive and screaming. And we got to see the same video. It's incredible. And, you know, they actually deny it even took place. You have people that deny it ever took place. We do know that, right? They deny the Holocaust. But now you have a modern version denying that October 7th. I've seen it. They say it never took place. A lot of these protesters say, I don't know if they believe it, but they've been brainwashed or something. They deny it ever took place. A lot of people say that. which is pretty amazing, actually. This evil atrocity would never have happened if I was president. Remember that. It never would have happened, and it didn't happen. There was never a threat of it. Nobody ever even thought about it. With us, there was zero chance of such an attack, yet almost before the blood of the October 7th victims was dry, and even as innocent civilians remained hostage in the hands of the terrorists, and they are rough terrorists too, rough. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden began to betray Israel in an effort to appease the Hamas caucus in the radical Democrat Party. From the start, Harris has worked to tie Israel's hands behind its back, demanding an immediate ceasefire, always demanding ceasefire. It's like incredible, like they never saw what happened. That would only give Hamas time to regroup and launch a new October 7th style attack, whether it's in a year or 2 years or 5 months or in 10 years, on innocent women and children. And the hostages are largely dead. I've been saying it for a long while. If you've been watching over the last few days, Hamas is really being difficult to negotiate with. And the reason is they're dead. Not all, but almost all, a lot. And I watched the way they grabbed that one young girl by the hair and dragged her in, the way they treated her. They're not keeping people around for now 3 years. They're not going to be taking care of them for 3 years, what they've done. And they're probably saying to themselves, we blew it, because everybody wants them to negotiate. They're willing to give them anything. All they do is they want their hostages back, right? They want their hostages back, and Hamas keeps saying, oh, the hostages are gone. They're probably saying to themselves, why did we kill everybody? But I think you're going to have very few people left. You're going to have a lot of them. A lot of people that they think are alive are not going to be alive. These are very savage people. Just last week, Kamala even said she would consider imposing a full arms embargo against Israel, one of the closest allies in the world of the United States. This is unthinkable. She said that. She wanted to impose an arms embargo on them like they did nothing wrong. It's not believable. Under no circumstances should a radical extremist who flirts with an embargo against Israel, a major embargo too, just a complete embargo, Israel to get nothing, ever become commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. You know, once the enemy sees if she was ever in there, they will take advantage of Israel beyond. The biggest strength that Israel has is they know that, like with me or somebody else perhaps, but fewer and fewer people, but they know with me that they have total protection. They will not know that if this other one gets in. They know that, they almost know certainly that they will have no protection, and that it will almost considered a benchmark in the people that she's dealing with. This is a radical left lunatic that we have running for office, and I'm trying to brand her as such, because if I don't, you know, they get a lot of support. They get a lot of money coming in from lots of bad places. So we have to win the election. When I'm back in the Oval Office, I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror. They have to have a right to win the war. Thank you. And I will give Israel the support that it needs to win, but I do want them to win fast. Wouldn't it be nice if they could win fast? And we have to let them win fast. We will restore stability and peace to the Middle East, and we will be sure that it will be peace through strength. You know, we had peace through strength. We had, as you know, Viktor Orban, who's the Prime Minister of Hungary, a very strong person. And they asked him a few months ago, why is it that the world is breaking out? You have October 7th, you have Israel, you have Russia. The whole Middle East looks like it's going to blow up. Europe looks like it's going to blow up. The whole world is going to blow up, and China's flying its bombers all over Taiwan. And he said, it's very simple. President Trump is not there. The only way we're going to solve it is President Trump has to be there. Now, he said something that I wouldn't say. He said they were petrified. They were scared of President Trump. They didn't know what the hell he was going to do. They're not afraid of anybody else. So I wouldn't use that word, but they did have respect for me. I knew them all. And they're tough, and they're sharp, and they're at the top of their game, unlike our people. They're at the top of their game. But it was something that he said. He said that would never happen if Trump were there. They said, how would you solve the problem? He said, if President Trump wins the election, it'll all be solved very quickly. It's true. I feel it's true. I mean, I know what we're doing. To our enemies around the world, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office. Too bad. Too bad, because so many are gone. You know that. I think most of the people in this room. I watched some of the mothers in Israel saying, my son, but I haven't heard, in 2 years. They have no idea. They're not going to get a good answer. You understand that. It's a very, very bad situation. In the wake of the October 7th attacks, we've also seen the scourge of anti-Semitism rearing its head right here at home. And you've seen that loud and clear. Jews have been beaten and bear-maced. You know what bear-maced is? On their way to a synagogue in Los Angeles. Nobody's seen anything like this. It's just what's going on now is exactly what was going on before the Holocaust. Exactly. Jewish American businesses have been vandalized, and we've heard chants of death to Israel and death to America, and we've seen the prominent liberals repeat genocidal slogans from the river to the sea. That's not a good slogan. People thought, oh, what does that mean? That is not a good slogan. That's a really bad slogan. Instead of aggressively confronting these venomous anti-Semites in her party, Kamala Harris has maneuvered for their support. She said the radical demonstrators on college campuses were, quote, showing a human emotion. Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it? Human emotion. When a mob of terror supporters in Washington, D.C. tore down the American flag in front of the Union Station last month, set it on fire, and hoisted the Palestinian flag while assaulting police officers and spray painting magnificent works of art, saying Hamas is coming. On a public monument, the Harris-Biden administration dropped all charges against almost every single one of them. I think every single one, but almost every single one of them. When you spray paint over these magnificent works of art, and you spray paint red paint on limestone, what I was best at is building. When you hit limestone, it's very porous stone, beautiful stone, but very porous. You'll see that in 100 years, you're going to see that. It goes deep into it. You're never going to take it out. And nothing happened to them. Kamala has long embraced the extremists in her party because she's one of them. She's an extremist, not a smart one. She's not a smart person, but she's an extremist. She defended the infamous anti-Semite Ilhan Omar, beautiful person, and fought to keep her on the powerful Foreign Affairs Committee. I mean, she's on the Foreign Affairs Committee, all these other guys are afraid to act because of it. When a college student accused Israel of ethnic genocide, Kamala said that she was glad that the student made that comment. She was very happy that she actually said this. Now she'll be denying everything, although I don't think she will, because they do have big numbers. They probably have bigger numbers than you have, we have. Likewise, her running mate, Tim Walz, he's worse. He's bad, not as bad as her, has praised a Hitler-supporting radical Muslim imam named Azad Zaman, calling him a master teacher. He's a master teacher. He knew him for a long time. He's a master teacher. If Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are elected, the radical left flag burners and Hamas sympathizers will not just be causing chaos on our streets, they'll be running U.S. foreign policy in the White House, and Israel will be gone. It will be gone. I never thought I'd say that a year ago, even 2 years ago. I never thought I'd say it. But Israel will be gone, I believe. And remember, everything Trump said was right. Do you ever see the sign? Everything I said was right. I actually think that's true. It's common sense. We have the party of common sense, right? You talk about it. It's the party of common sense. It's going to be gone. These people hate Israel. They assume they hate Jewish people, but they hate Israel. And I think it will be gone. It's very fragile right now. They're fighting on now 3 fronts. It started off on one front, but they don't have enough people to fight on all 3. And then you see these vast army of millions of people with hundreds of billions of dollars of cash in the bank, and they go out and hire soldiers of fortune on top of everyone they have. You can't fight that very easily. We must not let any of that happen. You must vote this November. If Kamala wins, terrorist armies will wage an unceasing war to drive Jews out of the Holy Land. They will do that. Iran and its proxies will spread bloodshed and death all around the globe. And as she continues to set the world on fire, and I understand her well, I've seen her well, I've studied her now, I have to study her, because unfortunately, by winning the debate so decisively, he got out. A friend of mine said, "You did a horrible job." What? He said, "Well, actually, you did so well that there's no way he's going to be able to survive that shellacking." And I said, I called him up last week. I said, "You are right. But we should do just as well against this one, and better maybe in certain ways, because, we have to define her. We have to let people know. You have to let people know, because she failed her bar exams immediately. Maybe, did anybody in the room fail their bar exam? I know Jason did. Jason Greenblatt did. I know that. But Kamala Harris will support unlimited migration from terrorist hotbeds into the United States. When I'm president, we will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers, and we will deport them very quickly, and Hamas supporters will be gone. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, then we don't want you in our country. We really don't want you in our country. I will ban refugee settlements from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip, and we will arrest the pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property and make really life very, very difficult in this country for a lot of people. I will put every single college president on notice, and we just lost another one today from Columbia. How weak, how pathetic are these people? How weak are they? Can you imagine these people running these colleges, and they're afraid to say anything even slightly negative to these groups that want death? The American taxpayer will not subsidize the creation of terrorist sympathizers on American soil. It won't happen. Colleges will end the anti-Semitic propaganda, or they will lose their accreditation and every single last penny of federal support. You'll see how nice they'll be. You'll see, they'll change their ways very quickly, but it's not probably from the heart. That's the problem. They may change their ways, but not from the heart. They're changing it because that's brutal, but they're not going to change it from the heart, I suspect. As your president, I will once again stand with the state of Israel. I will protect American Jewish community. I will put America first. I will keep America safe. And I will defend Judeo-Christian civilization from the barbarian savages and the left-wing extremists who want to destroy it. Together, we will confront the forces of anti-Semitism, and we will win, win, win. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Save Israel, right? Save Israel.